You know that feeling, right? You're in a perfectly quiet room, but the noise inside your own head is absolutely deafening. It's something we all struggle with, that endless inner chatter. But what if the solution isn't in some modern mindfulness app, but in the ancient wisdom of a Sufi master? Okay, let's dive into the teachings of Ibn Arabi and explore how we can finally quiet the mind.
So, first things first, we have to acknowledge just how big this problem is. This isn't just you worrying every now and then. For most of us, it's a relentless inner dialogue. All these thoughts, memories, anxieties, and desires, all overlapping and creating this constant, exhausting hum in the background of our lives.
So why is it so hard? I mean, think about it. You're lying in bed, your workday is long over, but your mind? It's still in that meeting, rerunning every single thing that was said. Or maybe an argument with a friend ended hours ago, but you're still in there, crafting the perfect comeback. It's like a movie that just never, ever ends.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. The actual event is over and done with, but that internal replay loop is just stuck on repeat. This is the real problem, isn't it? Our minds just love to cling to conflict and worry long after the moment has passed.
Well, in Sufi wisdom, they actually have a name for the source of all this noise, the nafs. You can basically think of it as the ego, or maybe the lower self. It's that part of you that speaks in the language of fear, of desire, of anger, and it's this voice that's responsible for all that chatter.
So how do we shut it up? Well, Ibn Arabi's path is beautifully counterintuitive. It's not about sitting down and trying to force your mind to be quiet. No, the true path is something much more active. It's a concept called remembrance through action.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, most people think of spiritual remembrance, or zik, as, chanting or repeating words. That's what's called the zikr of the tongue. But Ibn Arabi says, look, that's just sound. The real work, the zikr of the state, is all about embodying divine qualities through your behavior. And that is the real key to silence.
So, to boil it all down to one simple idea, it's not about what you say, even if you're repeating the most beautiful prayers on earth. True remembrance, the kind that actually quiets the mind, is a direct result of what you do. Your actions literally become your prayer. And here's what that actually looks like in your day-to-day life. When you feel that flash of anger and you choose patience instead, that is an act of remembrance. When you put your phone down and give someone your complete, undivided attention, you are remembering. Every single conscious act of kindness is a powerful step toward inner peace.
Now here's the part that I find absolutely fascinating. What's so incredible is how this ancient spiritual teaching aligns almost perfectly with modern psychology. It's like it builds a bridge between two worlds that you'd think are completely separate.
I mean, just look at this mapping. It's incredible. What Sufis call the noise of the nafs, psychologists today call rumination. The Sufi practice of behavioral remembrance is basically the foundation of modern behavioral therapy. And muraqabah, or surrender, well, that maps directly onto the psychological concept of radical acceptance. It's the same core truth, just spoken in two different languages.
And the central idea, the thing that unites both of these worlds, is one of psychology's most powerful discoveries. Behavior transforms thought. You can't always control your thoughts directly, right? But you can control your actions. And when you consistently change how you behave, your thought patterns will eventually follow right along. I absolutely love this metaphor. Imagine your mind is a giant forest. The ego's chatter, all the worries, the anger, the planning, it's like a bunch of wild animals making a racket from every direction. But divine remembrance, the kind you practice through your actions, is like a perfectly still, clear lake right in the center of that forest. The closer you walk toward that lake, the quieter the whole forest becomes.
Okay, so now the journey gets even more personal, because Ibn Arabi teaches that each of us has a specific, unique pathway to that inner stillness. It's all about discovering what he calls your dominant divine name.
The idea here is that every single soul reflects one of God's attributes or names more strongly than others. Now, this isn't some external label you're given. It's a core quality that's already within you. It could be patience, or love, or the ability to truly listen. Finding and living this quality is your personal key to quieting your mind.
So how do you actually live it? Well, it's like this. When you choose patience over anger, you are literally living the divine name, Al-Halim, the forbearing. When you listen with your whole being, you're embodying As-Sami, the all-hearing. And when you act with sincere kindness, you are living Al-Wadud, the loving.
Your actions are what make these divine qualities real in the world.
And Ibn Arabi himself puts it so powerfully. Discovering this core quality isn't just some spiritual exercise. It's about understanding the very mechanics of your own mind. Because to rule the mind is to rule your life. And this is how you do it.
All right, so once you start down this path of active remembrance, the inner noise really does begin to fade. But there are a couple of final practices that complete the journey and lead to a kind of profound and lasting stillness.
First up is something called the exercise of silence. Now, this is not what you think. It's not about sitting there and trying to force your mind to be empty. It's actually a form of positive recall. You just take a few minutes each day to remember a moment when you successfully lived your divine name, a moment you showed patience or truly listened. You're consciously reconnecting with that feeling of quiet strength.
And this gets to the heart of why this works, and why just trying not to think always fails. You're not fighting or suppressing your thoughts. We all know that just makes them stronger. The goal is transformation. You learn to host your thoughts. When an angry thought arrives, you meet it with the quality of forbearance. When an anxious thought appears, you meet it with trust. You don't fight the thought. You just change the environment it lives in, and it dissolves. And all of this leads to the ultimate state, muraqabah, or surrender. This is a deep, radical acceptance that everything, the good, the bad, all of it, comes from a divine source. This state is what truly silences the mind, because it short-circuits our most exhausting mental habit, that endless calculation, planning, and worrying about what's next. And here is the real payoff, the beautiful goal of all this work. The point was never to create some empty, blank mind. It was about quieting the noise of the ego just enough to create space. Space for a deeper, wiser voice, the voice of the heart, to finally be heard.
You know, the great poet Rumi summarized this entire journey just perfectly. It's only in that inner silence, when the ego's chatter finally stops, that a much deeper truth can finally emerge. So I'll leave you with this thought. Your mind will never be truly empty. It's always going to be filled with some voice. The only real question is, who are you going to let speak? Will it be the noisy, anxious chatter of the ego? Or will you, through your actions, create the quiet space for something far more profound?